What is good, YouTube? So, urban videos, they're like buses. You wait ages for one and then two come along. So, check that out. So, on this video, we're going to look at an update of the baby green tree pythons. So, it's been a real roller coaster, the raising of the babies. There's been some real low points, but there's been some real highs too. And the highs are simply hatching them, watching them grow, just watching them develop. Sorry about the noise. Luna likes to, she's settling down now. Luna likes to walk really lazy footed and scratch her claws on the laminate. So yeah, there's been some highs and lows, but believe me, it's been worth every moment, and I feel really blessed to have what I have now. And there's some really big cool news coming in the lines or respects of the green tree pythons, but I'll save that for a future video. So let's check out the babies now. So this is my absolute favourite by an absolute country mile. There's not one that even comes close to this one. Unfortunately, he is deep in shed, he or she is deep in shed. But this is UC22-01, named Demon Boy. So this is the very melanistic. He's got a very good feeding response, so fingers crossed I won't get bit. But he's a very melanistic baby. Doesn't mean he's going to be a melanistic adult. But fingers crossed, all we can do is hope. So he's now started to develop like a bluey green tone right on his snout, looking absolutely incredible. I know you can't really see it because he's deep in shed. I'm gonna refer to all of them as he, just so you know. So I appreciate you can't really see it, but he's a very dark, almost black on the what would be classed as a dorsal, and then it drops into it just starts to become lighter and lighter until it drops right to the bottom and becomes like a reddish maroon colour. Now, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, particularly because he's in shed, but his pattern is actually like gold flake. It's not yellow, it's not, you know, whatever colour you want to say, it's a golden colour. This snake is truly spectacular, and it's everything I could have ever wished for in a baby. So I really pray he or she becomes everything I ever wished for in an adult. Probably not, but like I say, all we can do is hope. So that is my absolute favourite, UC22-01. So here's UC-22-02. So this is number 2. Done fantastically well, and in the last 7 days developed a little bit of colour on the snout. You can see the greeny blues just coming through. It's looking quite amazing. Like I say, I'm going to refer to him pretty much as he. So you can see they've grown so much compared to my thumb. I'll drop another picture in the side of the screen so you can compare sort of like thumb pictures from the very first video. So it's been my absolute pleasure to grow these up, but it's also been quite sad in some stages where I have lost babies. One was completely my fault. I was assist feeding it, and unfortunately I pressed a little bit too hard and I split the skin on the back of the neck. It was a tiny split, and I thought the baby will be absolutely fine. I just took hands off it, placed it back, and the very next day it was dead. So that one, I'm going to say, was completely my fault, and it really did upset me. It's just devastating to lose a snake, especially something that you've kind of longed for so many years. And then another one, basically the yellow one that was featured on Instagram a few times. It was the first green tree python to ever bite me in approximately 10 years of working with them. It was the first baby that fed out of this clutch. It was kind of first for many things, and unfortunately he or she just started to lose weight rapidly, and I don't understand why, but then he perished. So unfortunately lost that one. And then there was a second red one that just wouldn't eat on its own, and I was assist feeding it heads and tails and everything else, but I don't believe I was getting the amount of nutrients the snake required to go on to thrive. So unfortunately that one passed away too. But the rest are doing fine, apart from one that's still been assist fed, but this week it had its very first meal on its own, and I'm absolutely over the moon. That's the only one I probably won't show, simply because I don't want to upset him or her. So back to this one. This is 02. I've actually decided just to quickly show the one that's had its very first meal. So this is 04. 03 died. 05 and 10. I think that's right. Anyway, so this is number 4. Not that the numbers really matter, but yeah. So you can see by the enclosure is now, you know, he or she is growing well and doing everything he's supposed to. So really pleased to see this one take its first meal. Right, so here is 06. It was 3, 5 and 10 that unfortunately died. So here's 06, a really good feeder. Starting to show a little bit of signs to start getting colour right on the snout. I don't know if you can see that. They're very difficult to film, these babies, because they're extremely small. But I'm really pleased it's flicking its tongue quite frequently, so it's smelling. There's no rodents, hopefully. No rodent smell in the air. So fingers crossed it won't bite me. Biting me would probably do the baby more harm than good, because if I unfortunately flinch or, you know, pull my arm out of the way and the baby's caught me, I could really do damage to the baby. So the biting is avoided for the welfare of the snake, basically. So yeah, check that out. Really dark red, beautiful. But if you look, the pattern isn't that sort of gold flake the first one is. So I don't think this will ever be as good as the first one, but it's still cool and still cool pattern. And I know a lot of you guys are literally begging me to sell some, but when you've waited all this time to create your own green tree pythons, it's really difficult to accept to sell some, especially when you don't know how they're going to turn out. So I'm not selling any of these, not at least yet. Once of all change I may, but definitely not for the next 6 months. So yeah. So here's 07. I'm now realising I'm really showing them at the worst possible time, because they're actually all entering shed or deep in shed. So shame on me for kind of doing this, but I'll basically do an update video when they've all shed, because I know a lot of you guys like the green tree python videos, and obviously the chondro stroke green tree python family, everyone, you know, likes seeing each of us productions and seeing how they're doing. The green tree python community, in my opinion, is doing a real positive U-turn, where it used to be quite snobbish, and I didn't get too involved with a lot of them because everyone seemed to be a little bit snobbish, and as soon as they heard you breed ball pythons, they kind of almost, you know, didn't want now to do you. But there's a lot of really good guys in the industry. There was in the industry back then, but they're still in it, and it seems to, the industry seems to be weaning out the snobbish kind of people, and the vast majority of the people in it are really good and positive. So it's nice to be able to show my productions off to obviously the green tree family. So yeah, that's number, I think, 7. So you'll have to excuse the background noise, but the father to this clutch is surfing his enclosure because he can smell the ladies and he wants to be a dad again. So he's absolutely on it at the moment. He's just all over the place. So here's number 8. Amazing. A little bit more sort of gold flaky colours, really nice, but deep in shed. I've really timed this badly, but I'm on with it now, so I'm going to show you them. So check that out. Please do let me know which ones you like best at the end of the video. And then lastly, we've got number 9. So cool baby, yellow, obviously neonate, so very different to the rest. Like I say, the other yellow one, I had 2 yellows in the bunch, unfortunately passed away. I'm glad I got a yellow and obviously one to go on, because I want to see how it changes. And as you can see by the colour, this one's changing much faster than the rest. And we can see a lot of greens on the head, a lot of greens, but not quite the same amount on the body. Let me try and bring him in nice and close. Let me see if I can focus this a bit better. So there we go. So lots of greens on the head, lots of green flecking in the body. See the snake's getting a little bit stressed out now. So this one is a monster feeder, and if you're thinking, wow, they look a bit fat, it's because I fed two or 3 days ago. I think it was 2 days ago. I'm feeding them approximately every 8 to 10 days, and after about day 7 they're kind of all over their enclosures, because obviously I'm still feeding the ball pythons in the room and stuff, and they're all over enclosure looking for food. So I'm just kind of gauging it by how I feel they are. If they're hungry, they get fed. If they're not, they don't. So you can see that they're all quite different in size, because some feed a little bit more frequently than others do. So there's a little comparison to the fun. So yeah, let me know which ones you like best, and let me know if you've ever kept green tree pythons or if you're considering it. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's video on the baby green tree pythons. Like I say, highs, lows, but worth every moment. If breeding green tree pythons is on your sort of like bucket list, please try and do it, because it's definitely worth it. The babies are a labour of love, but like the sentence says, love, you know, I love owning them, I love having them, I absolutely adore them. So it's definitely worth it, but you know, it tests your emotions. There really is some low points. So just let that be a warning to you. So I'm breeding them yet again, and hopefully in 2023 we'll see more babies. I'm praying some like UC-22-01, I'm praying some dark ones, because I just want to, you know, develop a nice little collection of really cool babies, and they're the ones that are more likely to turn out a little bit more unique looking. So fingers crossed for that, wish me luck. I may need it. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't, give it 2 thumbs down, and I'll hopefully see you on the next one. Peace.